All right, we are going to Giza to talk about the Great Pyramids. So here's your identifying information. I should have given you this illustration. So instead, we're going to draw this right next to the Sphinx. So leave that space empty for us to draw out a plan of where the pyramids were. So on the top is where we're going to write the context, and then on the bottom we're going to write the function, and then one thing for content. So don't worry about drawing this yet. We're going to draw it all together, but we're going to start by writing the context on the top. So for context, we're going to write this is part of a royal necropolis, and a necropolis is considered a large cemetery that is of elaborate construction from an ancient city. So a cemetery is just a place where the dead are buried. A necropolis is more elaborate, I guess, and then older, so ancient. Like the, I can picture it, the Ibex mountain goat vessel is from a necropolis. All right, so the pyramids, this whole act of building pyramids was kind of an old kingdom thing. So pyramids were built during the old kingdom of Egyptian history, and these were built by 3 successive kings. So a king, and then his son came and built the next one, and then his son came and built the next one. These are not the first pyramids and not the only pyramids, but these are the most famous pyramids. And before pyramids were a thing, tombs were mastabas, which is what's on the left, and then the burial chambers were underground. And then mastabas evolved into stepped pyramids, which is on the right. And then that eventually evolved into our geometric pyramid that we now know of, the 4-sided pyramid. And so this whole thing reflects an evolution in architecture. All right, so how do the Great Pyramids of Giza reflect an evolution in architecture? So we should be able to say it went from mastaba to step pyramid to pyramid. Just like when we start talking about Buddhism, it's going to start with a stupa, and that is going to evolve into what we now know as a pagoda. So there's going to be a theme of evolution in architecture. All right, so the stepped pyramid for sure really looks close to a ziggurat, but it's very different in its function. So the ziggurats were temples built to worship a god that only the priests could go into. So people couldn't really, same for our pyramids, people really couldn't go into the pyramids, but it was not built to worship a god. It was built to protect and symbolize the godlike power of the pharaoh. So we're going to start writing down our function. The function was a place where the pharaoh could be reborn in the afterlife, a monument to the pharaoh who was entombed inside of there. And the tomb was, the whole idea was that it was to protect the body. But did it? Right? We now know that that function did not work out so well. So this whole practice of creating large structures to mark royal graves was abandoned because of grave robbers removing everything from inside of these pyramids. We know now that these were filled with treasures or grave goods, and that has all been plundered, taken away. Even the covering that was on the exterior of the pyramids has been removed. They were all covered with a white limestone that has been stripped away. This is a good illustration of the different size, by the way, of the pyramids. You've got like Papa Bear Pyramid, Mama Bear Pyramid, even though it's a king, and then Baby Bear Pyramid. All right, so this act of creating these pyramids has evolved into rock-cut tombs. And so this is one of our New Kingdom pieces we're going to talk about for Hatshepsut. Sounds like hot chicken soup. This is Hatshepsut's tomb, which is a rock-cut tomb. All right, so this is my beautiful drawing. You guys are going to draw this diagram or architectural ground plan of the 3 pyramids, and then we are going to label what all the different parts are. Also, go ahead and draw the Nile River on there as well. And I would prefer if you guys drew this in pencil, only so that it's something lighter, or like a red pen, something lighter, because we're going to be labeling right on top what all the different parts are. So you're going to draw this right next to the Sphinx. Go. All right, let's start labeling. So the Papa Bear, the largest one, is Khufu. So I would write on there, this was the largest, and this one was about 13 acres wide on the ground. And if you have a hard time, I don't really understand measurements, so I looked up what 13 acres actually meant. So it's 566,000 square feet. That's really large. So that kind of helps give me an idea of how big that is. Khafre is like the mama bear, the medium size. So I would write second largest pyramid, and then Khafre's son, Menkaure, or Menkaure, it's either an A or an E, depending on what textbook you're in. That was going to be the smallest pyramid. One of our pieces coming up is a sculpture of Menkaure and his queen, Menkaure and queen. This would be maybe his favorite queen. And then if you look at his father's sculpture, pretty darn similar. So this is an idea of like stylistic conventions, right? There is a rule on how to depict the pharaoh, and they all look very similar. Oh, also Khafre, that is a portrait of him in the Sphinx. So I wrote this. Let me see if I can show you a picture. Maybe somewhere. No, right there. So I wrote my information about the Sphinx just right above and inside the picture of the Sphinx. So the Sphinx is a portrait of Pharaoh Khafre with the body of a lion, merging the notion or the idea of human intelligence, which is housed in the head, combined with animal strength. And again, we've seen this idea before, either with the running horned woman, from Africa, and then you've got the Lamassu from the Middle East, the Assyrian, where they're combining the horns, they're combining the lion or the bull body and the wings of an eagle, and then the intelligence of a man. All right, so we're going to label some more parts of these temples. So they each had like a smaller temple that was connected to the pyramid, and that's called a funerary temple. So the funerary temple is where rituals were performed before the pharaoh was entombed inside the pyramid. So there'd be rituals happening in the funerary temple. The causeway, and I wrote this sideways, this is a raised covered path where the body of the pharaoh, who's mummified now, the body is brought from the valley temple into the funerary temple. So it's just like a fancy processional pathway. And then the valley temple was where the body would be mummified or embalmed and then ferried in a boat down the Nile and then brought into the valley temple. And then from the valley temple through the causeway into the funerary temple and then placed eternally into the tomb. Oh, we can't forget the queens. All of the queens, I don't know where this guy's queen is, but the queens all had little mini temples or pyramids, sorry. And then all of these little rectangles around were mastabas, and there is a whole bunch all around. All right, so that's my depiction of it. I've got the mastabas on there, the queen's tombs. Okay, we do need to highlight, or let's read over what Khan Academy said, because there's a reason why the stepped pyramid points up. It's very specific, and then why this pyramid also points up. So the shape of the pyramid was a solar reference, perhaps intended as a solidified version of the rays of the sun. Texts talk about the sun rays as a ramp the pharaoh mounts to climb the sky. The early pyramids, such as the step pyramid, were actually designed as a staircase to climb to the sun. The pyramid was also clearly connected to the sacred Ben stone, which is an icon of the, I can't say that word, primeval mound that was considered the place of initial creation. We're going to talk about with the Egyptian creation myth pretty soon. The pyramid was considered a place of regeneration for the deceased ruler. All right, so we have the function. Yeah, the last thing is the contents. So this really overall just illustrates the importance of these burial customs to the Egyptian culture. All right, done.